Welcome back to this week's 2-Minute Tuesdays, where each week I'm doing the shallowest of shallow dives into some of AWS's services. Now this week I'm going to be trying to do this in trying to be sunny Southwold, but it's definitely raining, with the motion of the ocean over there and most of Britain's seagulls over there, but hopefully you can hear me. Now last week I promised that this week I was going to talk about CIDR ranges and what that means for a VPC. However, as I was thinking through the week, I realised that I can't do CIDR ranges justice until I've spoken a little bit about IP addresses. So, sorry for the change to the original scheduling, but I'll do CIDR ranges next week, and so we're going to do IP addresses this week. So, let's get 2 minutes on the clock, and let's go. So, if I wanted to post something to your house, I don't even need your name. All I really need is your address. This address is unique to you, and it separates your house from every single other house in the country. That's all an IP address is. It's just the unique address of some digital service. Every phone, tablet, TV, or smart toaster connected to a network is given an IP address. Now, I'm only going to cover IPv4 addresses today. There's something called IPv6. But IPv4 addresses are made up of 4 numbers separated by dots, and each number can be between 0 and 255. So going from 0.0.0.0 all the way up to 255.255.255.255 allows for just over 4 billion different addresses, which sounds like a lot, but actually in the world we're running out, which is why we've created IPv6. When I say we, I don't mean me. Now let's look into each of those 4 numbers in an IP address, because understanding these is going to be important for next week's CIDR range video. Each of those numbers between the dots is an 8-bit number. That means it's made up of 8 individual binary values that can be 0 or 1. If every single one of them is a 1, you get the number 255. If every one is a 0, then you get 0. So actually, an IP address is 32 binary values split into 4 groups of 8. Now, almost all the IP addresses from 0 up to 255s are public IP addresses. However, there are 3 protected ranges. Anything starting with 10 dot something can't be used for public IP addresses. Neither can 172.16 up to 172.31, and neither can 192.168, which you may have come across if you've tinkered with any home networks, because that's most often used. These are private IP addresses. Now, if we look at 192.168, we've already used the first 2 blocks. They're fixed. They're 192.168. That means we can only use the second 2 blocks for our devices. So we only have 256 options for the third and 256 for the last block, which allows for about 65,000 devices connected to your home network. Now, no one in a home network is going to go over that. That's no problem. But in a big corporate network, we might run into trouble. But we can talk about that next week. So that's it. I think I went slightly over. I'm really sorry. IPv addresses are unique addresses split into 4 sections that allow devices to talk to each other, and no 2 can ever be the same unless they're within different private networks with private IP addresses. You might want to go and Google IPv6 if you're interested. Come back next week when I talk to you about how you can split your VPC up into subnets and how that limits or has an impact on how many IP addresses or how many devices you can have within each subnet. As always, thank you so much for joining me for 2-Minute Tuesdays. Please share this with anyone who might find it helpful. I hope you have a brilliant week, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday for 2-Minute Tuesdays.